Hello, everyone. How you doing today? This is part two of the series on aliens, giants, Hollywood, the music industry. I'm here with my guest, Enoch Johnson. We are continuing where we left off last time. The video actually cut a little short last time, so we're doing a part two. We're going to dive right back into it. So excited for you to be here again today. We are in lovely Sherman, Texas. I had a different location, as you can tell, and I'm here with Enoch. And we're going to just kind of continue where we left off before. We were talking about Taylor Swift, man. And, we were talking about the when going to her concerts and stuff, these chants that were happening. And I guess you got the microphone, so, tell us about a little bit more about that, Enoch.
Yep, fully functional. Dum, dum.
No chords at all, man. This is like
Cordless.
Yeah, cordless.
As far as the chants, it was something along the lines of "Bring on the demons" or something like that.
Yeah.
She had been talking about like her song with the witches.
Yeah, I remember that, and they hit that music video that came out too.
Yeah, and somehow it correlates, and they were chanting "Bring on the demons," and she tweeted out that oh, is this the new chant that we're gonna start doing at all the shows now? And people were commenting on it and everything. It didn't really go anywhere past that. But it kind of went a little viral, and I didn't really understand how that matched her marketing. But for some reason, she decided to comment on that. So,
and that's like the double-edged sword of like the media today. Like, there's a camera everywhere. I mean, even as we sit here, recording today, there are probably cameras that are in people's houses that are watching, in front of their houses, and there's cameras that are on telephone poles and cameras that are on lights. We live in a world where everybody's got their own personal cameras, own personal computers. And so like with social media and stuff like that, if you post something, boom, someone's screenshotting it. It's already out there. You can't get rid of it. And that's probably with that, she put it out there. It's already out there. Someone screenshotted it. They showed everybody what she said, and it wasn't getting the hits she thought. It wasn't gaining the momentum. And so do you think maybe Taylor Swift, like I think we might have talked a little bit about this last videos, but like she's kind of into the occult, into some of the satanic stuff. We've seen that before with some like her music videos and stuff. But do you think that maybe she just dabbles in that stuff, and maybe she's just curious and kind of trying different things?
I think she definitely is very subliminal about it, which would have you to think like, why wouldn't she just come out, and say it like right. A lot of people are now, like it's real normal. But who knows, maybe she isn't, maybe she is just curious, maybe she's not all the way in it. Who knows? We don't have any significant proof, but
we don't have all the details.
It definitely makes you wonder, like why would all these things happen? Like we talked about last time with the hats, the witch imagery. They say it's all whimsical, but it seems like it's a trend. It keeps going. So why if it's just all fun and innocent, why you delete certain things that would make you think otherwise,
Right. Yeah, and even with her new album release, I mean, I've heard so I think with her newest album that just came out, there was a line that was drawn, right? And then her new album that's come out, I've read some of the lyrics. It's kind of dark compared to like normal Taylor Swift stuff. I think she's kind of stepped over a boundary right here to test the waters a little bit in her creativity. But the way she's come across, it's almost like I don't know, when I was reading the lyrics and I was listening to some of the stuff, almost seems like a different person completely. Maybe she's trying to rebrand her, maybe she's trying to do something different. But I feel like with this new image she's come out with, I feel like she's almost like she may lose a part of her fan base because of just, especially like the young kids and stuff like that, because it's very, I mean, it's explicit content on the album. She's dropping F-bombs. I don't know if she drops GD or whatever, but I mean, she's just cursing all throughout the album. Explicit content label on the album and on some of the songs, and it kind of makes me wonder, like, what happened to the old country Taylor Swift? You know, real everybody, you know, happy vibes, you know, but songs about guys, you know, breakups and stuff like that. That everybody was kind of like, oh, Taylor Swift, she's cool, you know. It seems like she's becoming something else, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But and I don't know if that's for the better, you know.
Right. Yeah. I don't know if it's a wise marketing decision, but it makes sense in some ways. Like her audience that started with her is definitely older now, so it would make sense as to why she would want to go a little more adult. And you know, as far as some of the not pro God stuff that she says in the new album, that's just, I think that just comes with the more mainstream you get.
Yeah.
You know, that's what people want to hear. Ultimately, they don't. I would say the majority of people that listen to Taylor Swift's music is probably not Christian based. Although a lot of Christians do listen to Taylor Swift, which, you know, teach their own, I guess.
Yeah. Not like, I think I was saying in an earlier video, not my style.
I personally wouldn't recommend it. No.
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend listening to Taylor Swift if you're Christian.
Well, it's becoming more obvious, like in the actual concerts and the music videos now, that there's something darker behind the message that she's presenting. It's not just the breakup songs anymore, you know, and that, you know, that acoustic driven Taylor Swift style that she had, you know, and not what we're accustomed to, you know, hearing. You know, you can't really put Taylor Swift, used to not be able to put her in the same category on other artists that do go deeper into that. She was a kind of her own style, you know. But it seems like now there's definitely a change. I will say with her, the one thing, talking about not having good marketing, maybe not the best marketing decision, but I will say with her, I think she's made a better transition. Unlike Miley Cyrus, who just kind of like alienated all of her young fan base.
Yeah, went straight
into just extreme, you know, music and you know, dancing with hardly no clothes on and performing. Miley didn't have much of a transition, but now she's kind of coming to her own where she is popular again, and for a lot of people, I like some of Miley Cyrus's songs. She's not someone that I have on my playlist all the time, but I think she's a good singer and stuff like that. But I do think that, you know, with Taylor Swift, there's definitely something going on, and she influences a lot of people. So I mean, there's a lot of people that follow Taylor Swift, and that's the thing. I mean, with all those people that are following her, do you think that? I mean, it seems like it to me, but what do you think? You think a lot of people are susceptible to just go wherever Taylor Swift goes, you know, if she has a certain attitude, a certain mindset?
Yeah, 100%. And a lot of, how do I say this? Not all of her stuff is just debaucherous or whatever you want to say. Like, it's not all anti-God or not pro God or whatever. So like you can definitely pull some value out of it, I'm sure.
Oh yeah,
but,
yeah.
As far as the negative directions that she goes in, I could definitely see the majority of, like, even the thought processes that the songs go in. Like, you can see the culture shifting to that way. Like, men are not smart, or
all men are no good.
All men are no good.
They're all gonna break your heart.
They're all gonna break your heart, right? That kind of connotation, I guess.
Like a jaded,
right?
Angry,
A little jaded, a little angry. but there's also good themes that I've heard about. I haven't listened to the album. Sorry to
Yeah,
the
me
Taylor
neither.
Swift fans.
I just read through the lyrics, so I did read through the lyrics, and I was very surprised.
Yeah,
the change.
I know some diehard fans, and there's some good themes in there, I'm sure. I've heard that she talks about her healthy relationship, quote unquote healthy relationship that she has now, and hopefully a lot of younger ladies and whoever else is listening to it can aspire towards that, having healthy relationships and not toxic ones like she's had in the past.
Yeah, I think you can take good out of any kind of music you listen to.
Right.
Like, I'm a diehard, Metallica fan. I love Metallica. But for me to say, oh, Metallica is this positive, upbeat, they're upbeat, but positive, inspirational, I think it's different. I know that there are some songs in Metallica I don't like, because of the negative connotation. But the music and the way they come across and the period of time they were in my life, I like the music. I like the driving lyrics. I like some of the stuff they talk about, and they do hit some issues in some of their songs. I mean, they talk about depression, they talk about alcoholism, they talk about suicide, they talk about being in foster care, and being abused as a kid. They hit some of these issues that people go through, and I think that's why people can relate to them, because the songs are so they hit a large range of topics. Now, it may not always be positive, but again, they're not a Christian band. James Hetfield's mother was a believer, but I think he's kind of taken an anti-stance against that. But he doesn't go around just saying, I hate religion, I hate God. But he definitely, some of his music is in that way, of that vein, where he has this anger that you can see underneath it. But if you look at the music and say, just listen to the music, listen to the lyrics and some of the songs, it can be inspirational in a certain type of way.
Right.
A lot of metal out there, hard rock, heavy metal, a lot of rap out there, pump you up, man. You feel good. It doesn't just make you just want to hit the streets. It drives you. And I think music drives us. Yeah, and so like when we're talking about Taylor Swift, we hit on her a little bit about the music. I would just say, if you love Taylor Swift and you're into Taylor Swift, and Taylor Swift can do no wrong, or maybe just like her songs, I just say take a closer look at the lyrics, at the videos. Think about the way it's influencing you and what the message is behind the music. Because you're getting these concerts that people are going to. It's not, we haven't dived into this, but the concerts some of these people are going to, where they're having memory loss. They're not even remember like details of the concert. Some of the people are saying stuff like they felt like really strange and weird, like presence come over them, like a darkness come over them. And you got to start questioning, what is this? Don't just play it off. Like, there's stuff actually happening in these concerts, and like the images, like we talked about in an earlier video, popping up on the screens. Yes, they may be your favorite artist, but you also got to think they may not believe the same way you do, or do the same things you do, or live the same life. And being an artist, they're going to try to influence you, in the way they believe life, and the way they do things. Not all of them do. Some of them believe certain things, like I would say, like Stevie Nicks of Fleetwood Mac. I mean, she's a professed witch, but you can kind of tell there's this airiness she has about her. This, her songs talk about spells and magic, but I don't think she pushes it on anybody. She just puts it on her music and the way she lives her life. I've heard when you go to the concerts, I've had friends tell me she literally looks like she's floating across the stage, like her legs aren't even moving. But the people who have gone to her concerts have said that it's not like, they don't feel like she was trying to influence them in any way. It's like she was doing her thing and not trying to influence. But I think today we live in, I'm not saying she's not influencing, but the world we live in today, artists are definitely trying to influence you towards a certain way of thinking. And I think Taylor Swift could be one of those artists, So we're going to jump right into our next person. Just keep this ball rolling, keep it hot. Ryan Garcia, man. Man, Enoch. Let's dive right into that, man. Tell us about Ryan Garcia and everything that's been going on and your thoughts about it. What do you think about this guy, man?
He's definitely been in the media a lot lately. He's, at this point, since the last time we've talked, he's reminding me a lot of Kanye, and hopefully he doesn't take the same direction as Kanye is right now. But he's a professed Christian. I would say definitely in the earlier days he was a lot more humble and like pretty reserved, and like he still had a confidence about him, but it was healthy. Went viral for the what's it called? The punch to the gut.
Oh yeah,
I forget what it's called, but with the pad, because he's a real heavy hitter. But he's been revealing a lot of these things, or almost confirming, like, because he's pretty big in influence as far as numbers would say. He's got probably 1 million followers on social medias. He knows a lot of people that we would consider celebrities. So his word, when he says these things, it holds a lot of weight. And he's been tweeting a lot about certain, what people would call conspiracies, Bohemian Grove. He said he's been there, and that he.
I feel like the attacks, the things that have come against him when he starts saying this stuff, makes you wonder. You know?
Right. Yep. He says that he went to Bohemian Grove, and they tied him up and told him to do what they say, or they were gonna hurt him and his family and all these things.
Yeah.
I don't remember all the details because it's been a while since that, but he just had a fight recently.
Yep.
And he won the fight. He was overweight, so he wasn't able to go for the belt, but
he won the fight fair and square.
He won the fight.
He knocked him down like 2 or 3 times.
Oh yeah, he pretty much dominated the fight. But now they're saying that he passed for some drug. I don't remember what the drug was.
It was just some random. I've never even heard of it, but it's a legal drug, and I'm thinking.
Yeah, he passed for some drug, and this was a couple of weeks after the fight, probably.
Right.
And so now they're trying to tarnish his record, which makes you wonder, like, he's been saying all these things in the media and stuff, like, is there correlation there? I don't know.
You would think if someone was trying to not bring attention to something, when someone brings stuff out into the open, whether it be a conspiracy theory or a certain way of looking at life, you would think that to keep it on the down low, you wouldn't come against it in a big way.
Right.
But it's almost like a little bit of, I call it insanity, because it's like the moment you come at Ryan Garcia, don't you realize, like, it just makes you look like there is something going on, especially when you come out that heavily.
Yeah, like as a retaliation.
Like, because he's been saying stuff, instead of just being like, he doesn't know what he's talking about, he's crazy. That would be the better way to do it, but it doesn't seem like, it's almost like the cards are being shown of the people that are coming against him, and it's being shown what they have, in poker. We know what their hand is, but they're not holding the cards close, they're just revealing it all. Sometimes that works, but sometimes it backfires,
It's true.
So, but yeah, from what I've saw with Ryan Garcia, I mean, I do think, like what you were saying, there's a little bit of that Kanye factor in there a little bit, where it's sometimes he says stuff and you're wondering a little bit, like, are you okay? But then again, like, some people say it could be the trauma of what he went through, and he's not knowing how to express it and really say it, and the fact that he has had all these people coming against him,
Yeah, he's a young guy. I think we're around the same age, so who knows what he has access to as far as counsel.
And they have to do it the way they do it, I guess. But it would make more sense to do it kind of like subtly, but then come straight at him, because it could totally backfire, and he could just become even more popular. And then they've built a monster. You know,
That's
kind of
true.
like Kanye. You know,
Yep.
just becomes more popular. It's not like it. I think Kanye's reputation's been hurt a lot by just the stuff he's doing, not as much as people coming out against him. So, but yeah, Ryan Garcia, that's a hot topic issue right there.
Yep.
I'm pulling for him because he seems like a pretty cool guy, and he genuinely seems a little scared on some of those videos. He seems like something is going on. Maybe some of it may be made up. Maybe it's all true, but it just seems crazy that the way he's come about it. So
Yep.
yeah, when you start digging into these celebrities and stuff, and you start thinking, man, there's something more to this story, you know?
Yeah,
So-
definitely all the all the Bohemian Grove stuff. Like, he's not the only celebrity that's talked about it, and
Oh no, he's not.
it's like, at what point do we say, okay, maybe we should look into this? But
Well, like what is it?
Nobody's really-
Is it ASAP Rocky? Is that how you say his name?
ASAP Rocky.
Yeah, I mean, what happened with him when he started to like talk about stuff or started to come out with stuff? All of a sudden, family members are like his
Oh, yeah.
family starts dying. You know, people start getting killed.
Yeah, every album I heard, I don't know this for sure, but I've heard that every album that he's released, he lost a significant family member, which goes back to like the rituals and stuff that we were talking about. Like, who knows? Like, when do we look into it to where this might not be a coincidence? You know?
Well, there's so many artists coming out and saying it now,
Mhm.
and some of them may not be the biggest stars. I mean, we talked about Justin Bieber coming out talking about the sexual stuff that has happened to him in the past, that he won't mention names because he wants to protect his family. But it's the fact that like there is something going on. You know,
Right.
why are these people coming out? Why would they damage their reputation to come out and say this? I think they want to get it off their chest. They want to like, I'll feel better if I talk about this and let people know, and maybe I can get some help. You know, bring awareness to it. You know, so it's wild. You know, we live in a world with AI now, or sometimes what is real, what is not real. But I think where you can tell what's real is when it starts to come out. You start getting more information, and it just keeps coming out, and more people that talk about it. Then
And it makes sense.
and it makes sense, logical sense. Like, oh, okay, that makes sense, you know. Like with Kanye and his mother, you know, that makes sense. You know, why he's just kind of all over the place, you know, the way he thinks, and betrayed by a lot of people, you know. He literally helped these people get to stardom, and they just turned their back on him, you know. So, so we talk about another thing I want to talk about is kind of shift the topic a little bit from them. Is I feel like in the media, and I don't know if you've noticed, is a lot of the messages in cartoons and the media, stuff that's aimed towards children a little bit like that. Have you noticed the shift of it's just being almost like some of the stuff is like, even in cartoons, TV shows, commercials, it seems to be like this perversion or this vileness to it, or this that there's a message behind it to try to get close to children in not a healthy way. I don't know if you've noticed that, even with cartoons, you know, and animation.
Yeah,
shows.
in the history of, you know, a lot of civilizations that went under or got real bad, went evil, like they always go for the kids. It's always something with the kids. They end up, you know, sacrificing kids, and I think that's what they want to do. They want to pervert everything as much as they can, because it's all under a spirit or a principality, like what the Bible says. I believe.
Yeah.
And as far as getting the kids to believe, because they're the future, so like if you get them to believe in, you know, gender is fluid, or what else did they go for? Like sex should be between whoever, wherever, whenever.
Well, you talk about the love is love, which, you know,
yeah, love is love.
honestly, whatever you want, whatever way you want to live your life, that's your choice. Especially in America, it's a free country. You can live your life. You can choose your sexual preference. You can choose your identity. The issue is when you start to push it on people, and especially children, when they're at an age where they're developmentally, they should only be focusing on being a kid,
Hmm.
trying to be a kid, trying to live their life. They're not shouldn't be thinking about adult things, about these certain topics. They
Right.
should be trying to live their life, and then like twisting things, aiming. What is it, like the term they throw around, minor attracted people now? Like that's just pedophilia. That's just grown people trying to get with children.
Right.
And so they start to push that narrative. I think in the culture today, and push it on kids and stuff. And honestly, I think it's just confusing kids, because what does it say? Until you reach the mid-20s, your mind is not fully developed. I'm not saying that people aren't in their early 20s aren't mature and aren't smart and can think. What I'm saying is that is what they have determined, that your brain at 25 is an adult brain. Finally, it settles in, and this is the way your personality is and how you're going to think. Before then, like literally a teenager's brain is mush.
Hmm.
I mean, one minute they're happy, I love the world, I love this, or kids too, Next minute they're sad, oh, it's terrible, my girlfriend broke up with me, my life is over, or I ate the wrong meal, or I didn't wear the right clothes, or I just feel bad because Mom, you looked at me the wrong way or something. They're just all over in the next moment they love everybody, and it's just we all went through that. It's just the hormones raging,
Yep.
and you're trying to keep that in control, and then you have to deal with all this other influence that's coming through the media.
Hmm.
So what do you think about that?
Yeah, definitely. It definitely influences how they handle certain situations, because you look all over, like even in, I hate to say it, but even in sports, like grown men like complaining the whole game, like they're just crying and whining
it's
about
weird.
things that don't go their way. Like any sport you look in, like that's the norm now, which, I mean, it could be handled better. But
So you think men
that's the way
you
it
think
is.
men in general have stepped back a little bit as far as maturity?
Definitely in that light, I would say so. Yeah. As far as, because that's what the kids pay attention to the most. Like when they're out there in the
Throwing a
action.
temper tantrum, and
Yeah.
kids like, oh, I can throw a temper tantrum.
Yeah, I can do that too. Like they think it's almost like they look at it as an important part of the game now, versus occasionally you get upset with the call because it doesn't go your way or whatever. But now it's like every play there's somebody getting
Whining and
upset,
crying, or
Yeah.
someone flopping, falling over like they broke their arm, and next minute they're draining threes, and you're just
The
like,
over exaggeration of all
Yeah.
of it. It's all
well, it's like the old school NBA players, like, oh, you guys couldn't play with us.
yeah.
Like, where you can see them busted, orbital sockets, or, blood coming down their mouth, their teeth are missing, and they're just, put me back in, coach, I'm ready, and they're not over there complaining to the official every day, body checking each other. I remember Ewing body checking Shaq, just bam, throwing his elbow, and I'm thinking that's a foul today every time,
Yeah, and even the more extreme examples like murder and just like killing people is more. It's more. What's the word? It's like we're more desensitized to it.
Yeah.
Because it's all over. Like even at a young age, like it's introduced like in the Disney movies. Someone dies, an important character dies, and so it's like even kids are introduced to death early,
Right.
which is like, man, like 50 years ago probably that wasn't the case.
Right.
That wasn't a normal thing, and now like it's all in the movies and video games and everywhere. So it's
The line of morality keeps moving.
it keeps getting pushed.
Where do we put the line at? We just keep moving it, and I think they move it in the name of acceptance. Oh, we just accept this, we accept that. But then I'm like, then where do we draw the line of what is not right?
Yeah, it's to the point where you can see someone actually get murdered on camera, like just from a couple clicks on your phone, you can see somebody
yeah.
get murdered.
Yeah, they used to have these videos that I'd see at the video store. They were like these videos that would show actual deaths, And I remember I was like, I'd watch them, and after I watch them, I just felt so strange, you know. And now it's just common, you know.
Yep.
I mean, they recreate it. They're not actually like killing this person, but they're recreating like scenes, but they're almost just as gruesome, you know, desensitized to it. So
yeah, and if parents, you know, if the parents, they're not paying attention or they're not really involved in that way, like a kid can see anything, you know.
yeah,
And that's the downfall of technological advancements. But you know, I think that's the key, that the parents have to be involved ultimately,
right.
for all
And
those
be
things.
there when the kid needs to talk, you know, not stuck in their own world, you know, when the kid needs to, like, they're going to be asking those questions in those early developmental years. Hey, what's this about? Hey, what's that about? You know?
Because I think at some point they're going to be exposed to it, probably before they need to be exposed to it. Not that there's some things that people just shouldn't be exposed to, but that's the society that we live in now. So it needs to be, there needs to be that relationship between the parent and the kid. You know, like
I
they need
agree.
to be able to talk about these things.
Yeah, because if you can have that conversation, you know, even with my own, you know, nephew and niece, I try to have conversations with them. Now, sometimes they don't understand what I'm saying, but it still don't matter. You still need to have the conversation with them, because they'll come back later and ask, what did I mean? And then you can begin to talk to them about it. We're going to dig into that a little more, but we're going to hit a couple more artists. That was just the tip of that iceberg. We're going to circle back around to that in a minute. But I was going to tell a story about, and then I'll ask Enoch a few more questions about some high-profile people. But like, there's a story that came out about Matthew Perry, and everybody knows Matthew Perry. He was on the show Friends. He died recently, and but he came out with an autobiography, and he talks about in his autobiography, you know, talking about being in the music. Being in Hollywood, being influential, being under the camera. This is why I think like spirituality is important. You know, I especially believe like in my life, like Christian spirituality is where I, you know, that's what I go for. But like, I believe it's important because Matthew Perry came back and said, like, literally, he prayed a prayer for the Lord to make him popular. And he prayed this prayer, and he said, I got popular. And he said, but it ended up being the worst thing that happened to me, because the more popular I became, you think I would be the happier I was. But he said, but because I wasn't rooted and grounded in who I was, the more miserable I became. You know, I became more and more miserable. And he said life was, and I just, you know, I turned to drugs, I turned to alcohol, you know, didn't want to live anymore. And he talks about it in his autobiography. So I think there's a big identity issue, you know, in our country today. And I think Matthew Perry had his identity, you know, moment, his crisis, where no matter how popular you are, you know, when you don't have that stable stuff, you don't have stability inside of you, and there's no telling where you could go, you know. And I think he ended up passing away from complications of stuff. I don't remember the exact details, but it's kind of sad to see that. But he did get that message back out there that, hey, you know, just because you see it all the time with like movie stars and TV stars, just because they're popular and just because some of those people seem like the most depressed people, seem like they got the most stuff going on, you know. And I think counseling is a great thing. But it seems like you have a really high rate of people in that industry going to like counseling and therapy and trying to find, you know, the answers. So it's like they get to the top, but the answers aren't at the top. You know, wherever they're looking, they're trying to look for those answers, you know, and they're not finding them, you know. So because we know the answers are not found in popularity. It sustains for a little while. They're not found in everybody liking you and everything working out. That sustains for a little bit, but eventually you have to find, you know, that ground, you know, that we both, I think, believe is in Christianity. You know, we find that ground root. So I think we talked about what is it, the Matt Rife contract? Did we go into that, Matt Rife?
Oh man,
yeah,
I almost forgot about that one.
Yeah, I was like, okay, we got Matt Rife contract and Naima Yamini, is that her name? I think.
I don't remember now.
Okay, but Matt Rife contract, yeah.
Yeah, basically a couple of comedians went to a meeting. I don't remember his name now, but he's telling this story on, I think it was TikTok or maybe Twitter, that he went to this meeting to discuss some opportunities for tour and a bigger contract because they had been kind of blossoming in the comedy sphere.
Mm-hmm.
And they go to this meeting, and basically they're presented a deal, and the only way they could finalize the deal is if they would do some favors, some sexual favors for the people presenting the deal. And this comedian says, as soon as he heard that, he heads for the door, saying, "No way, not me.
I'm out.
I'm not doing anything for you guys." And he says he turns around to say his last goodbye, and he already sees this other comedian starting to do the favors for the people that presented the deal. And the comedian that he was talking about was Matt Rife, which is he's a pretty famous. He
Came out of nowhere.
kind of blew up overnight.
Overnight, yep.
Overnight success. And so it makes you wonder, maybe there was something to that. Who knows? I wouldn't put it past. I don't think he's a professed Christian, so
No.
it wouldn't make me second guess it at all if he had, same-sex attractions or whatever was going on there. But who knows?
He reminds me of Dane Cook 2.0, like
Dane
a little
Cook.
bit. Yeah.
I think Dane Cook's definitely funnier, but
Yeah, I've seen a little bit of Matt Rife
Matt
stuff,
Rife
and
is
I was like,
pretty cool.
I think he appeals to ladies a lot.
yeah,
I think he really appeals to the ladies a lot with this comedian, because I just watch it and I'm like, not really funny, but that's just personal preference, I guess.
Mhm. He does a lot of improv, I think.
Yeah.
I haven't looked at like a whole special of his, but I've seen clips.
But again, coming out of nowhere
Right.
and becoming just huge.
Yep.
Like,
That's what
no
Cat
big-
Williams talked about.
Yeah, Cat Williams, like we were saying earlier, he talked about in an earlier video, we talked about Cat Williams saying industry plants, man. It's like songs that you see on the charts. You're like, where'd this artist even come from, Well, I'm not saying they're all doing stuff, but I am saying that some stuff is being done, and it's not shaking hands and hugging necks. It's going on to a lot more than that,
Who knows?
Who knows, we don't know all the details. This is all, like I go back again, this is all just speculation.
We weren't in any of these
theory.
rooms.
We weren't in any of these rooms.
We don't know what happened.
Disclaimer, we don't know what happened, but by us doing our own research and our own, digging, we've seen some stuff that we're like, there may be an elephant in the room,
Right.
and no one wants to talk about it, So, yeah, Matt Rife, that's crazy stuff, man. What do you think about people in the music industry being framed, blackmailed, so that they fall in line? I mean, we're kind of on that.
Kind of on that train right now.
Yeah,
What are my thoughts about it?
yeah.
I mean, it's wrong for sure. I would imagine it happens in some capacity, more than you would like for it to happen. I'm sure for your favorite celebrity, but
You think it might be for some people when they see that happen, they're like, "Oh man,
yeah, it's
Please not.
definitely puts a damper on things. Yeah. But as frequently as it's happening, who knows? I have no idea. But yeah, it's definitely not cool.
Well, like when you're I was watching a Quentin Tarantino video the other day, and in one of the guys, I guess he's co-producer or something. I want to say it's Epstein, or it's Weinstein. Or it's one of those guys. I can't remember who it is. One of those known, involved in like trafficking, involved in some very illegal stuff. He's in the credits. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm sure when Quentin Tarantino made this film, maybe he knew, maybe he didn't, but I'm sure that if he knew if that guy was involved back then, he probably would have been like, I'm sorry, bro, But I'm sure that, like we were talking about, there's probably celebrities that know stuff, but they just ain't saying nothing. They're just kind of like, I'm not part of it. Or if it happens, let it happen. I'm just not going to be very vocal about. I'm just going to do my thing, and there's got to be if it's what's going on. But there's something going on, stuff going on. Too many people are coming and out about it. But yeah, falling in line, trying to keep these guys, trying to keep them from spreading too much information, or they can frame someone. See, I feel like if you got like a whole bunch of celebrities together and they all got together and like said, "Hey, this is happening," and they were genuine about it, they could stop some of this stuff. But what happens is you get one come out and the others are like, "Ugh, no, I don't want to say anything." So